Hi, I'm Margaret. Savoury or sweet, croissants are always a great way to start the day, don't you think? I'm going to show you today how to make the dough, a nifty way of how to add the butter to make it easier to roll, and also a few tips on how to prove and bake the croissants to get those perfect flaky layers. Now the first trick is adding twice the quantity of yeast. This gives a lovely rise to the croissants. In goes the warm water, and we need to give that a really good mix. Now you can knead this on the rolling board, but my preferred method is to use a hand electric whisk with a dough attachment. It's easier on the fingers, and it also is much quicker. Just 5 minutes and it's ready for the next stage. I like to just shape it a little bit into a ball before I prove it. Then back into the bowl, covered so it doesn't dry out, and into the fridge. Now a handy little trick for rolling a circle into a square or a rectangle is to cut down the centre from side to side, just about halfway down the dough, and then pull out the corners, and you've almost got a square already. A bit of flour and a little bit of rolling and pulling, and we should have a rectangle about the same size as this board. And this board is about 40 centimetres by about 55. And so for the butter. I like to use grated butter, and I've also frozen it so it's easier to handle. I find doing it this way lets the butter move more easily with the dough, making a more even spread. It needs to be spread over 2/3 of the dough so that the other third can be pulled over. And then if we squash that butter down a bit, it's a little more easy to fold that third over to the centre. Then I'm turning it 90 degrees and rolling it once more into that large rectangle. Folding into the middle, 1/3 over, the other third over, and then leaving it to rest for about 20 minutes. It's fine to do this out of the fridge because the butter is frozen, it won't go too warm too quickly. Then let's flour the board again and roll and fold in exactly the same way 2 more times, covering it and allowing it to rest in between each time. And here's the final time. Turn 90 degrees, roll into a rectangle, and fold into thirds. It's the rolling and folding that makes all the lovely layers in croissants. Now we're ready to shape those croissants. I'm going to make this quite thin, so I'm only going to use half at a time. I'll need to wrap that up so that it's airtight and pop it back into the fridge. Now as we've got half the amount of dough, we'll be able to make this one half as thick. Give it a good squish and then a good roll. That should do it. And then using either a knife or a pizza cutter, I'm going to cut the edges off to make it beautifully straight. What we want for this are large, long triangles, which we're going to roll up. You can cut them widthways like this, or if you want them longer with more layers, you can do them lengthways. Let's give each one a bit of a stretch and roll from the largest end first, making sure that the point at the end is tucked under rather than over. This stops it unwrapping while it's proving and while it's baking. And let's make a tiny one with that last little scrap. I like to prove these overnight in the fridge. This way the butter stays firm and doesn't leak out during baking. And there they are, ready for your favourite filling. Mine has to be ham, cheese and mustard. I wonder what yours is. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you soon.